What's up, world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I am your host, Nefarious.
And I'm Frequency.
And today we are joined by Travis Gibb, founder of Orange Cone Comics, here to talk to us all about his current crowdfunding campaign, Voodoo Nations 1 through 3, now funding over on Kickstarter. Travis, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's going on? How are you?
Good. We are good. We are glad to have you here with us today.
You know, I want to let you know that I don't even have to lay in my bed right now. I told you my kids are in the Minions movie. I actually have an office. I felt that this would be a more romantic setting. We've seen The Office, and you guys have seen the bed, but I think that this angle is
definitely
is the
little
angle that we've been waiting for on the frequency.
It's intimate.
It is.
You know,
Right.
it's quite a sensual setting. I really do think you need to like get a drape for the light though to create like a warm, pink tone to kind of set the subtle mood.
Right.
Maybe play something with a nice saxophone riff in the background,
Yeah, you see, I've got all these pictures up there, but what would be better, and behind there, this whole thing right here is built to hide my comics, to make our room smaller, to hide my massive amounts of comics in the new house. But I think I need one of those neon lights, the little purple neon lights that like a lot of the guys
the
have.
bisexual lighting. Yep, that.
Yeah, I need to, get everybody in the mood for selling some comics.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I like getting in the mood with a little mood lighting to buy comic books. So we got D-Wag here with us. First, again, that makes 3 in a row for D-Wag. D-Wag, you're going to get this awesome prize. I'm going to give you a choice of 2 different things. Both of them are Mavericks blankets. Oh my God.
Upside down.
Is it upside down?
Totally. No, I just said it was upside down for no reason. Now you're sideways.
Now I'm sideways.
There you go.
So this one goes horizontally, right? And this other one is a more vertically aligned blanket. I think this is the right setup, right?
Recognize these from
See,
the mini shop.
but if it's a Maverick, shouldn't it have like 1 or 2 pieces of metal in the middle just to make you feel uncomfortable, so you feel like you're in a Mav?
Like rivets. We could put rivets in it. Anyway, D-Wag, you let us know. Do you want the pink and purple one with Mother on it, or do you want the vertical one with the shot of the tarmac?
Thank you, Eric. Neff has his audio set up to his headphones.
What?
So,
No, I don't. It was on
totally
it
do.
was on Yeti when I turned the.
It is not.
That's
not
such a
even
lie.
That's the speaker. Hold on.
Now you're screwing.
Now I'm messing everything up. Yeah, but the microphone is also set to your headphones.
There we go.
So thank you, Aerith. Hopefully that's better. Is it better now? I think hopefully you can hear us. Travis, can you hear us?
Yeah,
I
he
can
can
hear
hear
you
us.
fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So D-Wag, you get to decide which one you want. You want the one, the
Of course,
horizontal
Noah
one?
shows up for our boomer moment.
Noah hasn't been on the stream.
I know, so he comes
like
the
months.
first time he comes in, we're boomering something. Of course.
What's up, Noah? Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in, my dude. We are glad to have you with us. Unfortunately, Mo Biggs had to take off earlier, so he is not with us. But
in spirit.
yeah, he is. And Frank Salazar says he's going to be standing in. That's a tall ask right there, Frank.
I look forward to being talked down to you, Sal. By being talked down.
We got Maddie Fowler here for the crypto mining TED Talk. Fowler and I were in DMs earlier talking about that stuff. Aerith let me know how big of a dick he is, but also saving the day with the microphone catastrophe.
Thanks, bud.
And
Speaking of buds,
we got
Buddy
Lord.
Lord.
What's up, Buddy Lord? Sins of the Fae closing out. Going to be down on July 8th, I think, is the last time you're ever going to see it on
check the
Indiegogo.
calendar.
And then it's going to be moving on to other pastures, let's say. We've also got 80s Made Consumer with us. Thank you so much for tuning in. 80s Made, glad to have you with us.
You got one right for once. Sin to the Fae is closing.
Yes, I know it's closing.
On the 8th.
I'm aware of this.
Well, I was letting you know that you got the date right.
I know I got the date right. All right, Travis, buddy, we have had you on this show for a number of times already. We had you on for Voodoo Nations 1 and 2, the second campaign that you did. We had you on for Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies, Expired, Kaiju Mania, Granite State Punk, and now we're back here once again talking Voodoo Nations 1 through 3. You've been a regular. You're a regular around these parts. Our audience probably has some idea who you are already.
We even made you sing once.
Yeah, you did.
Not on karaoke, which we have to bring back at some point.
Where am I? Is someone beating me on appearances?
I don't know. I think you might have the number one spot on appearances.
We need to have a chart so I can make sure that I'm number one.
We can search, actually. We just did that earlier today to make sure that I got all of the ones that Armin Nassim is probably going to be your closest competition because he's
had him on for every book he's
right, but he's got 12 books this year, and I know he's been trying to plan out the ones that are coming out like in September and October well in advance because he's doing what you're doing, which is like the 2-week campaign. And so I said to him, I was like, bro, you gotta let me know like ahead of time so that I can schedule you because 14 days, if my schedule's booked, there's no way I can get you on without doing a special day, which we've done in the past. But man, like three shows 3 nights in a row, it takes it out on me a little bit.
They're not all coming up because Granite State Punk is not coming up, and I know we had you on for Granite State Punk, so.
You sure it's not coming up?
Yeah, I can count and read, and it does not say Granite State Punk anywhere there.
All right. It was on mine, so I think it's probably just your computer sucks. Anyway, if anyone's gonna give you a run for your money on show appearances, it's gonna be him. So either
is he's in my circles, but we do not enter the thing. Like he hangs out with a lot of the same people I hang out, but we do not ever cross paths. It's so crazy.
That's so weird.
Isn't it weird?
Actually, I have a joke about the circles later on. I'm going to tell it now though because you gave me the setup and I'm going to awkwardly execute on it.
All right, what do you got?
Where did it go?
We are nothing if not awkward.
Right. Right. So you put out a lot of books. You fund a lot of projects. You're a super backer on Kickstarter. And you help a lot of other creators find their footing in crowdfunding. Sure. So you're always welcome around here. And you've done a lot for a lot of people. We're a little over halfway through 2022. And already we've seen our mic falling down. And already we've seen a lot of projects from some really ambitious creators blazing their trail over on Kickstarter. Armin Nassim has several books out. He's got 6 more on the way. William S. Quinton from Sinopa Publishing has quite a few as well. Nick Mueller's got another Demon Hunter up his sleeve. And even Tyler put something out that he didn't cancel. What are your plans after Voodoo Nation 3? See, that was the setup execution. Just all at Tyler's expense.
I got it. I laughed. See?
Yeah, let's talk about Tyler.
Travis is on the move.
He's supposed to draw and talk, but
he never draws.
He doesn't do a lot of that. He's having kids now. Like, comics is not a kid's game. The more kids you have, the less comics you make. Just saying. But anyway,
shots fired.
So, I have a surprise.
Comics.
A launch that wasn't on the schedule. So I am just started pull the trigger for production for Granite State Punk 2. We did so well with it. People seem to dig it. So we've got that. So I'm rounding that up. And that's going to be the first Kickstarter that I break my rules. I'm going to actually launch before it's done. Which is going to be great.
Okay. All right.
But I trust Patrick. He gets me about 4 pages a week. So we're gonna do it. I'm still gonna make sure it's half done and very close, but it'll be done before the end of the campaign type of thing. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do Puck Van Winkle's. You don't want the BG stories. You really don't.
He's not actually a BG.
If you watch NBC right now,
sorry. Love you, Juanito.
I'm sorry. Right now, there's a show called Who Am I Famous For? And it's basically a show about like people's kids who are kids of famous people, and you got to kind of figure it out. I was asked to be on that show because my name is Travis Gibb, and the BG Barry Gibb's son is Travis Gibb. We're the exact same age, and we both live in Florida. So
that's
I should have fucking.
You should have said yes. You should
yeah,
have said yes. It would have been great.
And then been like, yeah, just totally not.
You totally. Hey, I totally screwed up the show. Because I'm not his kid. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, we got.
I think I'm funny.
Here's my comic.
We got Broke Down for Dead Bodies trade. We got the Holiday Spirits coming out. We got Puff Van Winkle's my wife's. Another Granite State and another expired. So we've got 5 books.
5 more.
Good
Lord.
Assuming I can pull it off.
So I have 1 book, and it's not even fulfilled yet because printing has been tough.
But it's done.
But we've got 1 book, and I know you had a head start. I mean, I know like Voodoo Nations was being done back in 2020, but like just this year alone, you, Armin, Sam, all these other people just cranking out books. I gotta say, I'm a little bit nervous, maybe a little bit jealous, a little bit concerned.
I don't think you can do it of that caliber though, because I know you as a person. I know that your attention to detail and the things that you want, I don't think you're ever going to be that creator, Aaron, because I love you, and I'm saying this not as a negative.
No, it's true. You're right. I don't think I could get like 5 books of like you said, the attention to detail. I'd go insane. But, you know, I could potentially franchise it out and have other people do those books.
That's
true.
I think, but again,
I think I should expand.
Yeah, we'd still, he said the attention to detail. We'd still go over it with a fine tooth comb.
He's absolutely right.
Which you know.
I am going to New Hampshire for a con, you know.
Oh, yeah?
I'm going to Granite State Con.
The Granite State Comic Con, yeah.
Yep, I'll be there.
When is it?
September 10th.
Oh, we'll be there.
12th, I think.
We can do that then.
Sweet.
We'll see you there then. We'll come up.
Yeah.
We'll come hang out.
When is your books coming in? I know that, you know, it's hard to declare those things because of, you know, tariffs and all that.
We're supposed to be receiving it within 45 days.
Yeah,
that was the estimated delivery date from China. Hopefully going to see it within a month and change. Probably around a month now. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll get the call when it's in port at New York, ready for pickup.
If let me put it this way: if we get it in time and we can fulfill, I will see you at Granite State Comic Con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 16th to the 18th actually. So you got an extra week than I just gave you. So.
Hey, Rich.
What do we got, Rich Ayala Roach Balls? How's it going? Thanks for coming and hanging out. We also got Miss Good Stuff. I missed her earlier, but and Raiden Radio. We got Raiden Radio with us as well.
On Kickstarter, Kickstarter's changed their rules to be a little bit more like Indiegogo. You know, I'm going to drop some bombs here. Kickstarter's rules: if you are a trusted creator, which I am, that means you have to have 5 campaigns fully completed, sent out, the whole 9. You are allowed up to 6, which I think is ridiculous, by the way. 6 unfulfilled campaigns live.
Whoa, live at the same time?
Like not like you can have them like you can't have 2 running at the same time. Sorry, Marcel. But you're not supposed to have 2 running at the same time.
More shots fired.
Say,
more shots.
We're zoning here.
But you can have each of them up like at various stages. And part of that is because of people like you who are in this situation, who maybe have more content to produce, but you're waiting on shipment from China or whatever, or the paper shortage or all the stuff. So those rules are put in place to help those creators out because Indiegogo doesn't have those rules. So you can launch another one.
Indiegogo doesn't have the protections either. Yeah. There's no requirement that you have been fulfilled. There are like things in the TOS about needing to fulfill within a certain time frame of the closing of the campaign within the fulfillment date, but like it doesn't really ever seem like those, you know, get adhered to anyway. But this idea that like Kickstarter can have a trusted creators I guess like designation, that's actually really cool because it'll inspire confidence from backers when you are a trusted creator, and it also mean that you can open up the possibilities of having more active campaigns and not having to line all the ducks in a row, but just to like bring them all to the table at once. I'm curious to see though, like how many campaigns people will be able to run that are like fully completed at the same time, because that's a lot of content to be doing all at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's a couple of people who do it already. Because it's been kind of all the stuff on Kickstarter is kind of like there's people who's been grandfathered in forever, right? Who they can do stuff at certain things, and they can send it out. So it's okay as long as things are in various productions. Like my rules, like that made me change my rules. So my rule is I can, as long as I send out the PDF, I'm good. Because I know that stuff, and I'm printing in the States, so it makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to get my stuff. Cthulhu Invades Wonderland just finally got accepted by the printer, but I got a 2-week turnaround time, but I'm paying through the nose to get a 2-week turnaround time. Yeah. Right? I'm paying extra and going other people who don't get their stuff, to get that, to make sure I get that. But that's because I'm a little late. Voodoo Nations is a single issue. And again, funky sizes. If someone could have just warned you about funky sizes.
I don't know, like it's a couple people said some stuff. I had some pros on grading. I had some pros on one hand, like why we should do a 9x12, right. And some other people on the other hand were like, hey, you might want to consider not doing a 9x12 for some very good reasons that should have been considered off of the bat, but
But then Garrett decided that he's doing 9x12.
And hey, I gotta say,
but it is gorgeous.
We've seen some funky sizes. Lawson's doing a 8.5 by 13. That's an awkward size. It is a table book, 140 pages, hardcover, and stitched in binding, which stitched in binding is really nice.
I'm gonna tell you though, I just threw one away. Like that was.
Oh really?
Because the book it was good, but it wasn't amazing. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't know what to do with it. It can't go on my thing. I don't know where to put it. It doesn't quite fit on my
Ollie's.
I'm just
give it to Ollie's. Ollie's will resell it. I mean, it's biodegradable, so But you're right. Oversized is a tough thing to do. It's a lot more like an art book. It's certainly not a comic book. It's definitely only for something like a graphic novel or a table book or something like the Meta Barons. That's the only time that you can really pull off a 9x12, and even then you should be doing a magazine size so that you can CGC grade it like you said, but of course we didn't do that. Anyway, let's get into talking about the book a little bit. Coming from a film background, this is a good segue. What drew you to the medium of comic books in particular, and how'd you get your start doing this?
I mean, I loved comic books. I've been reading comics my whole life, so I think I was always going to fall in the medium, but I think I wanted to do the Kevin Smith way, write a comic, and then fall back. By the way, I just read that Guardian Devil. That is fucking unreadable. It is so hard to read. Like, at the time, I was so into Kevin Smith, so I had no problem reading it, but you look back at it now, and it's just walls of text. Like, people would be screaming the internet would be blowing up at him if he did that comic today.
You mean there would be people on Twitter that are ripping it apart and dissecting panels and stuff?
I actually think it would have hit Kickstarter as well. I think it would have been a mutual bonding of the comics community going, this shit don't stand.
You can probably engineer something like that. We should all just dunk on Kevin Smith, right?
I'm just saying, especially, again, using the analogy that it came out today. If He-Man also came out, you're good, because that was a pretty unified thing. I didn't mind it that much because, I watched He-Man as a kid and I thought it sucked. Watch it as an adult, still kind of sucked. Like, I loved it. I collected tons of them, but I knew it was bad, right? I knew it was bad TV.
I didn't get to watch the new one. Yeah, I saw the anime one. It was a while back. They did an anime reboot. Yeah, they did a He-Man anime reboot, and they did a Thundercats anime style reboot. Yeah. And both of those were pretty decent. It's just as far as just entertainment, it wasn't like a profound, great cartoon. It wasn't like Avatar, The Last Airbender or anything. It was incredible storytelling. It was fucking Thundercats.
There were no cabbages.
Or flying bisons. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, there are certain things that everyone can kind of just look at and go, no, no one's going to defend that.
Right, everyone was pretty passionate about that. The Thor Miles Morales comic was not good. That was a pretty universal...
Oh, come on. You didn't like that? I had so much fun with that book. I sat there and I laughed my ass off at the 90s music references. You know,
you
ain't
know
no
that
party like an Asgard party because an Asgard party don't stop. I mean, that's actually the 70s. That's George Clinton of Parliament Funkadelic. I'm like, how is this the exaggerated swagger of an urban youth? Most of these people weren't alive when these jokes were fresh.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I've been reading the whole series though, like, so I've known it was bad from the beginning, so that didn't shock me.
I'm interested to see what are they doing with it, because I know, like, at the end of the book we saw Hulk Morales, Wolverine Morales, Thor Morales.
John Malkovich, but with Miles Morales.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting
Morales.
for like
Miles
I was gonna
Morales.
say like the next issue is just Morales.
So are they doing like a crazy crossover thing where Miles Morales is all of the heroes that have to stop some sort of weird, cosmic crisis on infinite Morales reality Earths?
Stop, Carl. It's the shitty thing about comics. The shitty things about comics is the movies dictate what the comics do. So
Really?
Multiverse of Madness is out, affects everything. Everything is multiverse right now. Avengers is multiverse. Miles is multiverse. And then the other worst thing about comics beyond that is Marvel and DC steal each other's friggin' ideas. There was a time when Batman and Captain America were both killed by time bullets. Time bullet isn't a real thing. The fact that two of you decided to do the same stupid thing at the same time is fucking ridiculous.
That is kind of ridiculous.
They
They do borrow from each other's inspirations. If you remember, what was it? They had the King in Black, right, which was the Marvel event with Venom and Silver Surfer and Null, and that was right on the end of the metal universe in DC. It was like Bat Metal or whatever. So it was like they had death metal, the death metal thing for DC. So it was like you had this one crazy badass, like, scary dude, and then Marvel did the exact same thing. I'm like, well, I got burnt out on the DC one, but there were a couple good issues of King in Black. No, I thought there were one or two. At least they were really good looking. Some of them were really well drawn. Anyway,
That's fair.
So we should talk about your book, though, right? Why don't we talk about Voodoo Nations?
Dude, I will talk about anything all the time. I love comics, so talk about any comics at all. But yes, I do.
All right, so what is out there right now that you're enjoying? Because I know a lot of people are looking at mainstream industry comics, and what I mean by that are like the big two and any of the immediate periphery. Like Image, Valiant, any of the large selling, even Boom and Dynamite are kind of on the periphery of that. What industry stuff and comic book in general are you reading and enjoying? Because I like talking about stuff I enjoy, right?
Yeah. 8 Billion Genies is possibly the best concept and the best comic.
I've never heard of it. What is it?
Oh my god. So there's 8 billion people on this planet. Everyone gets a genie all at the exact same time. Okay? And they all get one wish or whatever they want. And wishes can counteract other wishes, and it gets effing ridiculous. And the way the book is told,
that's cool.
It's 8 seconds after it happened, 8 minutes after it happens, 8 months, 8 weeks, 8 months, and that's how they tell the story. So each issue is like, this is 8 months. It's so effing good. It's the coolest thing I've ever read. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Already got opted for a movie, and it only has issue 2 out. It's so good.
Wow. Very cool.
They're slated for July and August. You've got 3 and 4. Is it going to be a 4-issue miniseries? So that's one of the cool things about Image.
8 issues.
Oh, 8 issues. So they've only announced 4.
This is just what's slated because of Diamond.
That's one of the cool things about Image is they do really nice, tight little miniseries, and they're not in continuity. They're just like, we're going to tell, Skybound, Murder Falcon, right? We're just going to tell a story. It's a really cool story. It's got good art. It's got good characters. Here you go. All right, so 8 Billion Genies. That's going to go on the pull list. What else you got?
What's the furthest place from here? Have you heard of that?
No. I'll look at that one now.
All right, so what the furthest place for here is about, it's about a whole bunch of kids. I think that's Image as well. Yes, it is. So you can
Yeah,
probably
it is.
check it in
Yep.
So what it is, it's a bunch of kids that are left around in like a post-apocalyptic world, kind of like the Warriors. But what makes them interesting is they're all dropped at random locations and they take up the personas of those locations, but they don't truly grasp what they are. So the group that we follow, the main characters of it, are from a record shop. So they pick out records and CDs and DVDs that they identify with, but they don't really know who the bands are or what they are. They just because they don't know how to play them. They don't know how any. There's no power in this world. There's people who are like in a banking institute. They carry around briefcases. Cops try to enforce laws, but they don't really know what the laws are because nobody's told them. And there's some alien race following all these. But it gets crazy from like old people's homes, kids taking on personas of old people's homes, to fairgrounds, to like wild shit, to supermarkets, and like all these gangs are like gangs, warriors fighting each other. It's dope. It's got a very cool art style, very very retro. Love this book. Also, if you have money, there's actually versions that come out with records, with vinyl records on them, which is
Oh, neat. Neat. We do have a vinyl player too. We can check that out. See, that's the kind of stuff that I find really interesting because they're doing more mixed media stuff. Like I saw DC. I think it's DC. Yeah, it's DC. They're doing sort of like a retro throwback comic book with a figure for $10. So they're trying to get like that physical element where you buy it and you give the kid the comic book, and it's all like older comics too. They're not like brand new ones. It's a comic and a little figure for $10, and it's going to get hopefully children back into the physical media of comics and action figures. And of course, old nerds like me are going to buy one of each to throw in the collection and keep mint in the box and never open or read them. But I like how they're trying to branch out like that.
I mean, Todd McFarlane did it in the '90s, but let's.
Well, that's what I mean. They're bringing it back. Like I haven't seen a lot of comic book companies really trying to push a figure and a book or like some sort of mixed media merchandising with their books. Like absolutely, McFarlane did it. God, what's his name? Lady Death. Yeah. Polito. Polito does it with Lady Death because the action figures are definitely a constant part of that series. Like it's one of the really big draws. Is his action figures are incredible, but like we're starting to see things that we had as kids, or even like teenagers, starting to kind of come back around and be of interest again, which I think is really neat. I also like the multimedia tie-ins with stuff that isn't like a major market, blockbuster movie, stuff that like video games, like a small thing on Steam, or like a record or a CD, or the comic books where you scan the QR code and it has a soundtrack, stuff like that. I think like that's really cool to like integrate.
I loved that.
To integrate your product or just a comic book, which is such a disposable, it is a disposable medium, right? Originally it was conceived of as like you read it, you throw it away. It's not something that you were gonna like keep forever. They were under your couch, they were whatever. People put value on it, and that's why they became valuable. Originally comic books weren't sophisticated art forms, or works of literature. They were funny pages, they were the funnies.
Well, and I think, believe it or not, Marvel and DC have actually learned something. Because back when the movies first started getting popular, you couldn't recognize the characters. If you watched Civil War, you had Cap Falcon, who was it was Cap Falcon at the time. Or you went to Thor, it was Lady Thor was in the comic books. You couldn't recognize. It was really hard to get the medium to go, and then finally they dictated what we need to have these at the time of a movie reflect a little bit of the movie. Like Thor's hammer is now all messed up and broke, just like the new Thor movie. There's different reasons behind it, absolutely. But at least there's some familiarity. Like, oh, I can kind of get into this and go. which is great because they didn't give a shit for many years.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, even in like the beginning, none of it reflected itself. You know, like
Right.
Tony Stark's Iron Man was different from what was going on. Or I should say Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark.
Sure.
Yeah, I know. Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man
so
was
synonymous in your
different
head.
than the Iron Man in the books at the time. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, like going back to the beginning of the comic book movies, maybe not all the way to the beginning, because I think Wesley Snipes did a pretty damn good job as Blade. I'm not entirely certain if the plot line was the same, because I don't remember Blade comics. I don't remember a lot of things. But
killed
like
vampires.
Midnight Suns
I mean,
was
really, like you had like Michael Keaton's Batman was even.
yeah,
that was
it wasn't really Batman at the time.
Yeah,
But
and that was
I see
pre-
what you're saying, because they're trying to like bring the two together now and have like I guess at least congruence between what's going on in the fictional world of comics and in the same fictional world of movies. Now, I don't know, what do you think is going on with Phase 4 then? Like, what are we going to see if they bring these two closer together, where we get the movie universe, the MCU, and the comics universe kind of on the same page? Moving forward, what kind of like stories are we gonna have?
I don't know. I mean, Phase 4 is very clearly being the most recent Secret Wars, the Jonathan Hickman run. It's very clearly going to that. And I think what they're doing is allowing us to get all these things in the same pile, and that so they can their 5-year plan is to shut down the MCU as we knew it and reboot it. So they can have new actors and have some of these movies do some stuff, because you can't, movies, the actors are getting old. You just can't do it.
Yep.
So I think that's their plan. And then we're going to get some surprises because of that, like the X-Men universe and some of these things. Let them come back one last time in the Secret Wars. In the Secret Wars villain, it's Doctor Doom that does it, but you can do that easily with Kang. So you can switch out Doom for Kang and that with very little effort.
But I want Doom. Doom is my favorite.
I
Marvel
want
villain.
Doom, but I want a few movies of like, I think Fantastic Four, they've always failed of making Doom the bad guy in that
100%.
first movie every time.
It's never Doom. Like,
Right.
when you read Doom, he talks about himself in the third person, for F's sake. You know, like, you need the somewhat cheesy yet completely awesome Doctor Doomness of Doom. Like, he's more Mojo Jojo of today's superhero types than like, a handsome, like, what was the name of the actor that played it in the first Fantastic Four movie? Then when I saw him, I was like, that's not Doctor Doom. You're not nearly a megalomaniac enough. You're like, oh man, I don't know. I would love to see Doom. I enjoyed Magneto. I would like to see Magneto really well done. So if they're going to be kind of rebooting the MCU, do you think we're going to get another like Axel Alonso, all new, all different new heroes or new iterations of those heroes being born, whereas those existing heroes are finally actually sort of put to bed? Because we do have the actors who have gotten old, we do have the books who've been, they've been around forever, and now we sort of have a newer generation emerging into the mainstream as consumers who are going to want stories with characters that they feel more attached to. I don't know. Do you think we're going to see something like that?
It's possible, but I really don't think they're going to go that way. They know they've tried it enough times, like with the Runaways and stuff like that, where it just doesn't work. Right? Yes, that's good.
This is it. Yeah, Doom is above and all are below. Most can't even gaze up upon the visage of Victor Von Doom. Yeah, exactly. I always come back to the Phoenix crossover event that Marvel did, which was absolutely ridiculous. But there was it was Phoenix Force. Phoenix Force like went out and everybody was like getting possessed by the Phoenix Force. But there was a fight between Cap and Doom, and Doom was just obliterating Cap, just like beating him to all hell, and Cap gets up and he says the line, "I could do this all day," because it's Cap,
Sure.
and Victor Von Doom goes, "So clearly the Phoenix Force is keeping you alive and debasing you to try and frustrate me, but I will not play this game with you, Phoenix Force." Doom forfeits. And he just leaves. It's like the whole time he's like coaxing the Phoenix Force, being like, "We will be the strongest pair in all reality. Lend me your power and I will subjugate." No, Doom forfeits. It's just, that's the Doom that I want to see in the movies, man. But I don't know if that appeals to the modern audience.
I love Doom. I love Doom that he's conquered the universe several times and gets bored. which is good. Even Secret Wars, like if they built it up right, like Secret Wars was so beautiful because he literally became the god that he's always wanted to be. He made the world in his image, but he had all these visages of Mr. Fantastic because he can't get over it. And it was so beautiful having Mr. Fantastic going like, you literally have everything you could possibly want and you surround yourself with my wife, with my children. Like, look at how sad you are a god and you're still pathetic. Like, in just having that, it's so good.
Hey, Hockey. Sorry, can't stay, brother, but thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, I would definitely love to see them run with that, because that's definitely a property that they have not really gotten their fingers into. You know, I mean, they definitely haven't gotten it right, but like they've made a lot of X-Men films. They've rebooted the Fantastic Four a couple of times, but we haven't gotten any mileage out of it. Sure. We've gotten plenty of mileage out of Spider-Man. We got mileage out of the Avengers. You know, there's some stuff in the Marvel universe, you know, in the MCU that we haven't gotten any mileage out of, and I would really like to see some of that explored before whatever happens in Phase 5 kind of comes down the pipe and reboots everything all over again.
I think it's a hard thing, you know, especially Fantastic Four. It's a hard sell because unfortunately family is a tough word in our modern society. You know, kids are leaving faster than they ever have been. The family unit tends to, you know, fight, you know, a lot more than they used to. You know, that uncle that we used to go, we don't like that uncle's political opinion, now is the bad guy, right? We don't want him anywhere near us or near our kids or anything. Like, we've kind of gone as a society, and I think that's reflected in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a good point, because family is such a part of it. I mean, they are a family that goes into space. They are a family that gets superpowers together and tries to figure out how to, you know, use them to the benefit of everyone. And you're absolutely right. Family is a tough thing for people to talk about these days, especially given the, I guess, the modern cultural perspective on like the different ways that we're doing family. Like, there's a lot more from what I've heard and what I've read, because I don't go outside of my house and I live in the woods, so I can't really say I've seen it in the world, but what I've seen has been shown to me by the internet and told to me by reporters in articles. I see a lot more, or hear a lot more, about people who are trying to raise children communally rather than within a nuclear family unit. Sure. They're trying to sort of break that down and do a little bit more free parenting, which allows the children to grow within a community. I don't know how you would do a Fantastic Four movie with that. I mean, you know, I don't know if it would catch on. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't know if it appeals to a modern audience, because God knows I'm not the modern audience. I was the modern audience in the 90s and 2000s. It's 20 years later. I'm not the modern audience anymore. I'm not going to be around for another 40 years paying to go see movies, right? Like, because you see things shift in culture when you see new generations sort of step up to become the consumer base. I think we still have a whole lot of disposable income, but there's a generation right behind us that's going to become the new modern consumer, right. And that's kind of where entertainment companies are focusing.
Well, and that's, you know, I had just had this conversation with my wife, you know, after the Texas shooting, you know, and how we're still deadlocked about doing anything. Like, that's all going to solve in 20 years. These kids have been in these, you know, hiding under the tables and had these drills and learned the gun shooting. They're going to make some changes. We don't have to worry about it. We just got to wait it out. Like, because these kids are going to have a very different opinion about it than we do. Like, because growing up, we didn't have those concerns, you know. Those were in our forefront, you know, in our later years, going, oh, that happened somewhere else, not everywhere, right? And
yeah, now, the earlier generations, they had like the bomb drills for nuclear weapons. And there was a huge movement to denuclearize, right? Like everyone was mutually assured destruction, you know, like, let's stop using nuclear weapons. And they did. They got a lot, they affected worldwide change. I mean, it was a little bit more on the global scale of, you know, guaranteed thermonuclear warfare.
Right. New York City was still doing those, like, in public schools. You still had to do, like, the nuclear
hide under your
drill.
Desk drill.
Yeah, except it was in both schools that I worked in. It was in the hallway. You had to go. Yes. You had to go out into the hallway where there were no windows because the classrooms had windows, well, except for mine in my first school. And everyone had to line up in the hallway, and the kids had to get down on the floor and cover their, like, duck and cover in the hallway. I'm like,
was this
so
like,
it was very weird. There was
this
an
terrorism,
overlap.
or was this like specifically a drill to protect from a nuclear attack?
It was the same. Okay, maybe it wasn't specifically nuclear, but it was the
I
same like area drill.
that kind of area drill in New York. But I was going to say, like,
But
that's just a failure of bureaucracy in that case if we're still doing drills that are like 40 years
But
outdated.
it was weird because there was an I don't think they actually still are, but like for a few years there was that weird overlap of both drills going on at the same time. Where you had one where like you'd go out and hide in the hallway, and then the other one you'd lock all the doors and hide in the closet.
Did they have like different sirens or different alarms?
It was a different code word.
Oh, different code
Like there were
word, okay.
alarms or code words.
Yeah.
There was all sorts of like different things.
That's wonderful.
In my class, we ran outside yelling "Wolverine!"
Yeah, we took on the Russians, which then became the Chinese in the reboot, right?
Well, from what I understand, based on modern culture, if you go to karate school in California, like it gets shit crazy over there.
Well, I mean, all I know about that is Eagle Fang.
Yeah, right. Karate Kid. That's the only exposure that I mean. I've never been to. No, that's not true. I've been to California. I've never been anywhere. No, it's not true. I've been to San Francisco.
Yeah.
I've only been to California once, and I haven't seen a whole lot of California. So it's not like I, am really familiar with what goes on in the metropolitan areas there.
You did not like San Francisco.
No.
You didn't like really any of California except when we went to the Redwood Forest. You liked the
That was
Redwood
dope.
Forest because
Yeah.
it was trees
And
and
there were no
everyone
people.
had to be quiet.
Yeah, there were no people. That was wonderful. They have the worst pizza over there. It's pretty bad. So yeah, what's up, Arrogant Ape? Thank you so much for tuning in. I actually asked my sketchbook this question in the chat. If you were going to cast Victor Von Doom, who would it be? Do you have anybody like in mind who would make a good Doom? That's a good one. I can't. First of all, I don't know the names of any actors. I'm just going to give Travis time to think while I fill the dead air.
I
don't
nothing.
know the names.
My first instinct was Bradley Cooper, and then I immediately go, he's not arrogant enough.
He's too much of a nice guy. I've seen him sing with Lady Gaga.
You need a pretty guy. You need a pretty guy, but also arrogant.
That's
That's fair. My sketchbook.
You need a.
We liked the dim sum.
The dim sum place was good.
Yeah, we were like Little China or whatever it was.
On Waz or whatever.
It was
really,
like
really
the oldest
old.
dim sum
Yeah, that was good. I like that. And walking around was cool. The streets were a little bit yuck. We went to the big hill. That was kind of cool, but there were a lot of people. Yeah, and we went to the zigzag street. I'm sorry. We were talking about Dr. Doom.
That never happens here.
Yeah. I would probably cast it if he cannot be a leftist asshat Sacha Baron Cohen. I mean, that's a possibility, I guess. He'd probably do the whole, like, Latveria accent. He'd probably be able to pull something like that off. But then again, he is really a funny guy. He's very sarcastic. He's very bombastic. I don't know if he'd be able to, like, rein that in for Dr. Doom. Because he's always larger than life in everything that I've seen him in. I saw him in Bruno. I saw him in, great success. It was a Borat. So I don't know if he'd have like the right temperament for it, but I could see that too. He'd just have to wear the mask. Right? What's that?
The guy who played Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogies.
Huh.
Cillian Murphy.
Okay.
Right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I don't know these people.
I think so.
He's got that look to him.
The look?
Got that, like
the hawkish look.
He's got that confidence when he walks into a room.
Or Cillian Murphy. I think it's Cillian, because maybe it's Cillian. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I could see on the left.
He was also in Red Eye and a bunch of other.
Dunkirk.
I just want to see him take the acting up to 11, though. Like I really want Doom. I really do. I want to be able to go to the movies and just crack up.
Well, apparently Miles Teller is known as an arrogant actor. He was in Top Gun Maverick, and he was also
Goose. Yeah, and he was
in that movie that I can't remember the name of. That
never can. We just saw
symbols.
it though. Fudge.
You know what else could play? Which is kind of the guy who plays Rick from the Walking Dead show. Imagine him playing a bad guy and being arrogant.
Huh.
He doesn't quite look.
I don't watch Walking Dead. If not, get a tall theater Shakespearean actor.
No, and Kenny was originally going to play Freddie Mercury, but was denied because he said all needed to be revealed about Freddie Mercury's life. And I don't know if they could have done that in the time that they had for the movie, and also I don't know if that would have like hit the demographic, like the full target demographic that might have made a lot more narrowly appealing. What's up, John?
I didn't realize till recently that movie is something.
Oh, that was him, wasn't it?
It was?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he played Reed.
When did he play Reed?
The first thing I ever
the latest
in
Reed.
the 2015, because we didn't watch the
I didn't see it.
reboot
I didn't
of
see the
it.
new one.
And the first thing we saw him in was that movie with the cymbals and the jazz with what's his face. I know that's so.
Just look up his IMDb.
There.
Oh my God, like you're failing.
Charles
You're both
Gomez.
failing,
I was-
but- No. There was
no.
a recent movie. I don't know how popular it was, but it was about a jazz orchestra. And this kid, it's actually about like modern Juilliard music culture, that kind of stuff. Like how hard people work to get into these conservatories and to then like become famous musicians by going through like the rigorous, difficult, hellish trials that happen in places like Juilliard. And a lot about like the hazing that this kid and the bullying that this kid had to endure from one of these teachers. But it was also really cool because the guy who was the teacher, what was the name of the teacher? The dude who played the teacher. He played Jonah Jameson.
Yes. Whiplash is the name of the
Whiplash, thank you.
Yes.
And he was the teacher who bullied the hell out of him. But it was like people didn't. He explained it so well that people don't understand. I'm pushing you the way that the greatest musicians were pushed by the people in their lives that helped turn them into steel, and iron and greatness. So it was a really interesting look at like where is the line between torment and temperament. Especially in a high stakes, high pressure situation like that. And honestly, the music was fantastic. So I'd highly recommend Whiplash. It was dope.
Yeah.
Especially the last musical number. It was like, fantastic.
Yeah. I totally did not realize that he already
played Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Yep.
He didn't
miss much with the F4 reboot.
That's fair. I mean, it didn't really look like it was gonna be that good.
I mean, I walked in mad because of the different races between Sue and Storm, and not because it's not a racist thing. If they were both black or both white, they're supposed to be blood related siblings.
This here with the black Johnny Storm.
Yeah. So is
I mean,
black
I've never really been a fan of race swapping, and I didn't see a reason for that. Then again, I didn't pay attention to the buzz, so I wasn't I wasn't hearing from the entertainment industry why taking Johnny Storm in a different direction like that would be conducive to the story of Fantastic Four. So I didn't really get it. I liked Captain America as Johnny Storm in the first one though. I thought he did a fantastic job. But then again, the guy who plays Cap, what's his name? I don't remember. I don't know actors, man. I don't know actors. They're not important.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans. I thought he was a great Johnny Storm. He was just, sarcastic and fun and arrogant. And
my sketchbook says you can get Ray Fiennes and have him go from Voldemort to Doom. I would actually argue that his brother Joseph Fiennes, I think, would make a better.
Once again, I have no idea who that is.
Shakespeare in Love.
I think you should cast somebody as Doctor Doom. And then go through the whole movie and find it with just a robot. And you don't even know who Dr. Doom is because that's the
That would be interesting. Yeah, we could do that. I mean, that would have to be the worst Chris. The comic that did the first in the Ultimate Universe, I think.
I'm gonna look at Joseph Fiennes for you.
Yeah, it might be Joseph.
No,
Fiennes,
the Ultimate Universe has the normal races for everything. No. They made Reed Richards into an arrogant prick and made him into.
Oh, that guy from Shakespeare in Love. That's what that is. It's Shakespeare, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the movie. Like I couldn't.
I just said from Shakespeare in Love. You're like, I remember that.
Like, no,
and then I show you the picture. Oh, that guy from Shakespeare in Love. Yes, exactly what I just said. Thank you.
I mean I couldn't remember the movie, what he looked like in the movie. And when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's the guy from Shakespeare in Love, because that's what. Never mind.
Chris Evans is a better Johnny Storm than he is Captain America.
I would tend to agree. I mean, I really liked him as Johnny Storm, but then again, I think he's an excellent Cap. Just because, like, I'm used to him as Cap too. You know, like I don't know. I loved all of the actors in Avengers Infinity. You know, Phase 2 or Phase 3 or whatever it was. Like, I think everybody did such a good job. Really did. Anthony Mackie was fantastic. Sebastian Stan was fantastic. Of course, Downey Jr. is my guy. Yeah. Even little Tom Holland was hilarious. I thought he was adorable. Yeah. The guy who played Ant-Man, what's his name?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Yeah, he was all right. I mean, he was funny. I didn't know that they were going to take Ant-Man in that direction. Like, I didn't think it was a comedy. And of course, Scarlett Johansson is just the bomb. Like, I'll watch her in anything.
We're
do you want to talk about your comic book and your crowdfunding campaign?
My sketchbook says that Joseph is.
I mean, like, do you want to?
I mean, we should at least go through it one time so people know what it is.
Hey, fuck.
Yeah, let's do that. Why don't you load up the campaign page? I do have to say, I really liked how you separated the digital tiers from the physical tiers in the graphics on the campaign page. Right. And I noticed, I was like, that's really cool. I like, and the way that you like group them together, that was also really nice. Aesthetically, the campaign page I thought was really attractive. And so the 2-week thing is kind of what everybody on Kickstarter is starting to do. Is it because you really feel like the middle is kind of just lagging? Like you don't really have a lot of action?
It's normally 3 weeks, not 2 weeks. So it's normally 3 weeks. I only do it for, second issues or third issues, not first issues. But yeah, it's kind of that thing. And that's what separates us from Indiegogo too. We do shorter campains. We fund money
tight turnaround
faster versus longer campaigns
that have a longer time to fulfill too. Yeah.
Yeah. No. There's no wrong or right way to do it. It's just a different.
Right. And it's whatever model works for you. Like with this is a 24-page book.
Yep.
Yep. So like a 24-page full color book that you have done when you go to crowdfunding, it's to get the book made. So you fulfill right away, but you're making the book so that you can then take it and bring it to distribution, like put it in stores or whatever you want to like sell it at conventions, et cetera, et cetera. Like the idea is that short campaign is to fulfill it to the backers who are helping bring it to life. But really what you're doing with that money is you're making the book real, and then the real sales start. So it's a different strategy for something like, Mavericks or any of the bigger books that are on Indiegogo. Yeah, it's establishing the brand and it's building this big thing, this big event. And then the book comes out and goes to, conventions. We don't have access to stores yet. We don't have distribution. We don't have any of the connections that people like yourself who are making floppies and are going into the realm of like distributing to stores and getting it into Barnes and Nobles and, putting it into the aftermarket in all sorts of different ways to try and like just saturate and permeate the market. Like we haven't done that. I don't know if anybody on Indiegogo is. I think that's a lot more of a commercial strategy on Kickstarter, which I think is really cool.
Well, and it's
just different goals.
Right? If you want to get into the direct market, you need to give them books at a timely manner. They don't want to wait a year for a book. They just don't.
Right.
This has been about a year, but because I've been giving them something every few months, they're not worried about it. They're still having me in for signings. I'm still selling their old stuff. So it works out, it builds that different brand,
Yeah, I definitely, I hear that. And I do have to point out that it is a 24-page book, standard size, right? Yep. Standard comic book size, full color, and it's still $12, which is maintaining the crowdfunding standard. Now, I know a lot of people who are sweating the inflation right now. 8% is no joke. 8% is getting there. It's hurting a lot of people in their bottom line. But also, shipping is insane lately. And your book is still $12. I got to hand it to you, man. Like, that's really cool. You haven't priced people out yet.
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, I think
It
when
is.
I did Granite State Punk, I think it was $2.72 an issue is what it translated to. So I was making no profit really on those $5 books, especially when I sell them to stores because they want to buy them at a reselling price, right? So that's tough. That's really
Sketchbook
cool.
is right. Yeah, if you don't hit the LCS market, you're leaving money on the table, and I absolutely agree. For a lot of creators, though, a lot of smaller creators who are first timers or who are just learning their way around the market, it can be finding the connections with people who have an into the LCS or into the direct aftermarket, and that's one thing that a lot of people I guess they weigh when they get into the game. Is this something that they're doing for fun and for a hobby, or is this something they really want to do competitively to try and make a brand and to try and build a business and like that? It's all different priorities, right?
This I thought was also cool. Speaking of
The International
shipping.
Backer Support Program.
Yeah, so if you back a physical copy of your book internationally, you get the next tier up. You're just sending it to them like for free. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. What else?
It only
did I
gets
have
tough
written
when
down
they
here?
back the highest tier, and then I got to message them and go, "Hey, what else can I give you?"
So on Granite State Punk, you did this funky thing where you let backers pay an extra $1 per book because it was like a $12 cover price, and so this was like doing $13, and they could score both covers A and B, and then they could select any of the two. I think you had 4 or 5 covers, a la carte for 30. So for $26, you could get the 2 variants. Or for $30, you could get 2 of the any variants except
Mix
for
and
like
match
the
it.
metal one, right? Which I thought was really neat. But this time you have a special day and night cover, which you discount when purchased together, and then you have like a Guns N' Roses variant. It seems like every campaign you rock a different variant cover strategy. What's the mind behind this one?
So all of my books have a thing, something that makes it special. So for Broke Down, it was the black and white double page creator's copy. For Voodoo Nation, it's the day and night covers. So we do the day and night covers. And by the way, for people on the show who don't know, this is a new artist. We don't work with Luke Stone anymore. This is a brand new artist. But you'll see he's got a little bit of Luke Stone's vibe. Like there's a lot of people who didn't know when they looked at it because and
if you haven't backed Voodoo Nations, you still are offering the first 2 books, which are
Correct.
Luke. So there's a whole catch up where you could get Luke, and the new guy.
Right. Which is pretty cool. So for this, we do the day and night variants. That's kind of our stick for that. For Broke Down, we do for Granite State, we're going to do that. Punkified is going to be the thing for that, which is really cool. That Guns N' Roses cover is really, really cool. And it, for those who've read the book, it fits in theme. Like, unlike, it's not just a variant cover to have a Guns N' Roses variant cover. This woman's been harassed by 4 different voodoo priests. So she's in the middle, and the 4 voodoo priests who've been harassing her are around her.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why it's the 4. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna pick up that cover because I think that cover's awesome. So how did you put the creative team together on this book? I know Jerome is on it. It wouldn't be an Orange Cone Travis Gibb production without Jerome. But who's the new artist? How did that come about?
So I literally scoured the internet to look to someone who was similar to Luke, because there's
You want to maintain the aesthetic.
Yeah, there's nothing I hate more than someone drastically changing. So I wanted someone very similar. I found that they both have different streets. Watch out for that voodoo. Trust me, I know.
It's true. Frog G has a comic book coming out about him, and it's definitely got a little bit of that witchcraft going on in there. See,
Nice.
voodoo gods and magic.
Frog G, I don't normally do this, but let me know when it's launched, and I'll put it as an update.
Oh, nice, dude. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Frog G's a good,
Absolutely a good dude. He's a great dude. He backs all the stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of those like.
He's our backer #1.
Yeah, he is. He supports the hell out of indie comics, man.
Yeah. And he drops links all day. Everywhere
For
he
everybody.
goes. For all people.
Anyway, so you were telling me you scoured the internet for a guy whose art style kind of was similar to Luke's. And how did you guys work out doing the book?
It worked out good. It was actually it couldn't have happened at a better time. Obviously losing Luke was very upsetting, but he had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and then he had COVID, and he had to pick up all sorts of stuff. But what was good about it is Luke and I collabed a lot, right? We feed back and forth and stuff. This guy just kind of did my script, and we were at the point in the script where I really wanted to take the reins. So it kind of worked out really well, right? This is kind of, I want to make it a little darker than I normally do. So this book is very, very dark. It's very, very cool. And I'll send you guys.
So it's a tonal shift as well as a slight artistic shift, and that makes a lot of sense because the first two books build up in a certain direction, and now that you want to take it in you want to give the series a definitive direction that you're going to go in, you tweak that art style a little bit. I appreciate the the strategy behind that. I like that.
Yeah, it worked out really well, and it helped us kind of build what we're doing now. It's a very dark issue compared to what we had before. The other ones are very on purpose, was pacing a little slow for story purposes, and this is kind of more like the normal book that you'd see from Travis, from Broke Down, or from Granite State, where it's a little faster pace, kind of throwing a lot at you, and you get some reveals finally in this one. What happened with what that symbol that you've been seeing through the whole thing and all that. I actually just sent you a private chat, the whole issue, if you want to show people that it's done.
Holy crap.
But yeah, we've got some really cool stuff. And right there, it kind of shows the graphic that it's all done.
Yeah, dude, this cover is sick. Oh my goodness, look at that.
Yeah, share screen.
I don't know if I want to. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, dude.
Go to the updates.
The first page is so good. All right, I will share the screen. I will share a little bit of it. I don't want to give it all away because that would suck. I also don't want to get sued. But I gotta ask. So you've been.
Travis just gave you permission.
Yeah, if someone really
needs sorry.
Here.
Yeah.
If someone needs to pause
That's what I do.
to read my book because they're that desperate, please go ahead and do so.
Yeah, just back it at that point, right? So I was going to say, with this 2-week campaign, you're 1 day in and you've already pulled down 167 backers, which is amazing for 1 day. But issue number 1 had 278 and issue number 2 had 247. So there is still some room to go before you kind of make those numbers that you had on issue 1 and 2. But those were also live for 30 days, so you're looking at a 14-day campaign versus a 30-day campaign. And you're also looking at kind of a weird environment for... You want to share on mine? Because I'm just sort of like flicking buttons as I go?
Yeah.
All right, you do that. You're also looking at like a weirder environment for crowdfunding. Like this series was started back in 2020 when it was a different economy and it was a different time in crowdfunding because projects were starting to come around where people were taking the new stuff more seriously. Some of the bigger, I guess, like more dominant crowdfunding personalities out there who'd been doing stuff on Indiegogo and Kickstarter, they'd kind of solidified where they'd been, which had given crowdfunding sort of a reputation or like an impression. And in 2020 and 2021, a ton of new creators started coming in and doing their own thing. And 2020 was really the turning point for that, I feel, where a lot of the younger people, well, maybe not younger, newer people stepped out of that shadow and started doing their own thing. So 2020 was a great year for crowdfunding. There were a lot of projects. There was a lot of excitement. 2021 too. And you released Voodoo Nations 1 and 2 over the course of those 2 years. Now, though, we have a weirder economy. We also have a significant slowdown, at least as I have seen it, in crowdfunding. The numbers just are kind of indicative of some sort of backer fatigue, some sort of just lower backer totals overall. Are you concerned at all about that? Has that been your experience at all? And what are you anticipating doing to kind of counteract that somewhat more challenging uphill climb to get to your backer numbers?
Well, there's a lot of questions. So first, I got to clarify something. So I've been actually live a week. So it's a 21-day campaign.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a 14-day campaign, and I saw 13. So my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. I want to make sure that clear so someone doesn't call me out on it. Yes. Though there is that, my Granite State Punk was the highest backed and highest total of any book I made. And then Cthulhu Invades Wonderland was gangbusters, right? 40,000, 800 backers, killing it. So I do believe you can see it very clearly in this because I normally get 150 backers pretty early. I'm a little bit behind on where I need to be. because I normally get 150 in a week, and I'm not growing as fast. I still think I'm going to hit my numbers, but I'm going to have to use some tactics, some different tactics. Social media is not going to make it anymore because there's too many people doing it. So if you're relying on social media, you're not going to make it. It's not going to work. There's other ways to do it. You're going to have to get on shows like this. You're going to have to do some stuff to get in front of people to really make it. There's a couple other covers in the latest update if you want to check them out.
Are these for that deluxe?
Yeah, so this is for the big deluxe one. So you can add either of these two covers, and then we'll go back.
Oh, cool.
So that's the dominant cover that goes with the one that can't happen from the last one. And then we had a Guns N' Roses T-shirt for if you want that.
I need the Guns N' Roses T-shirt. Yeah. I need it.
Appetite for redemption.
So, and then at the bottom, there's one more cover. This is a DC homage mother box for Collective.
Very cool.
It's pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's a big factor. I also noticed that even people who are voting right now, who are pledging, they're pledging for less. They're doing a digital versus a physical and waiting. In the Kickstarter arena right now, it is tough. And I know the next 2 weeks are even tougher. There's some huge books coming up. So I'm going to have to hustle. I'm going to have to do some new strategies. And there's some cool strategies that you can do. One of the ones that I recommend, if you have as a big fan base, like I do in multiple books, you can do backer kit launch. You don't have to do backer kit to do the launch part. That sends out an email. I do really good. So it costs you $100 to send it out, but I got over $4,000 on it for Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. And that's I know it works because I got tons of people yelling at me saying, hey, I told you to take me off my list in 2018. I was like, good, it's getting to people.
At least you know it's working. Yeah.
You know it's working when people are yelling. So you're going to have to do some stuff to strategize. Right now, I think the gas prices are tough. I think real life is really coming into Roe versus Wade stuff. I think the 4th of July and Canada Day, both of my backers are from Canada and 4th of July. All of that's factoring in. June and July tend to be busy months for Kickstarter. On the Kickstarter platform, which means a lot of campaigns don't raise as much because there's a lot of the bigger campaigns, the must-buys on the campaign are live at the same time. So we'll have to see, but I'm going to be pushing it. But yeah, I mean, I am a little bit, which I apologize for anybody who's like, I would just love to get $3,000 like in a week. Like, I apologize. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but it is a little slower. It's actually tracking the same way as Voodoo 2 should, and it shouldn't be. This should be, with all my other successes between Voodoo 2 and now, it should be tracking much higher,
Yeah, I don't think anyone's thinking you're an asshole. Let's also point out the fact that you've done 14 Kickstarters. So, like, you have built up a fan base. You've been at this for well over 2-3 years at this point.
We're going on
people who are looking for that $3,000, it's their first time. It's their second time. Travis is not a first time or second time creator. Travis is one of the GOATs, when it comes to this game. So when we're talking about a slowdown and Travis is saying, it's noticeable that my backer numbers are a little bit low, but he's also saying he's got strategies to compensate for that. It's definitely something that we should be like listening to and following. All right, so let me check here to see if there's anything that we haven't talked about. You've got a box. You got a catch-up box.
Yeah, let's
tell me about this box, man. I love me some boxes.
So remember the box that I sent you for Voodoo? I had to do crazy MacGyvering to make them fit.
Yep. Yes.
So that is a leftover of those boxes, and I'm minimizing it to six comics inside. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 comics inside to make sure it all fits, so I don't have to go through those shenanigans. That's why there's.
I mean, hey, it worked though. It really, I was impressed.
Yeah, you did.
But if I'm gonna fit the amount of covers that you get just for this campaign, or someone had a catch up, it wouldn't work with that box. So that's why it's there. Because that's the same box that you had last time.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, how many people pick up that box, because I love collector's boxes. I just think they're a lot of fun, like and that's one of the things that you can get on a crowdfunding campaign that you can't necessarily get in stores simply because of shelf space. Like they're not going to stock these boxes everywhere. These are definitely something that you can get as kind of like a crowdfunder exclusive.
And they'll sell one. I've noticed at every major con that I go to, if you go to bigger cons, you will sell 1 or 2 every con.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm counting on being able to sell my box to people at conventions. Minus the dog tags. Because those are crowdfunder exclusive.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we gotta like get people's to submit information and stuff to figure out how they want to do their headshots for the website. But yeah, like I'm anticipating doing boxes at the convention. So I've seen other people like Jamie Tyndall. He does like gangbusters on his boxes. He does crazy good boxes.
Whatchamacallit box right there.
Punchline.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's his punchline right there.
I want to say Jinxie. I'm like, that's not even a thing.
No, it's the last one too. Yeah. But yeah, like that's actually a thing you're starting to see is kind of like this prestige white glove, whatever version of things that you wouldn't necessarily see in the stores. But you can definitely afford to do that if you are the creator and you're selling it yourself. What?
I have a question about the campaign. So this Guns N' Roses Voodoo Nations cover, is that only available in the collector's kit, or can you do it as an add-on?
You can
do it as an add-on. And you could buy it by itself too, because I knew people really dug it. A lot of people messaged me. You could just buy that if you.
Oh, Guns N' Roses variant. Okay, I guess I skipped over it. I'm looking like A, B, C. Wait, I don't see that as.
Yeah, I got tons of messages about it. People did add it as an add-on, but it doesn't reflect that on the front. Yep.
I would really like to. So that is one of my big things. What
about sell that box? I love a pretty box.
It is. It's a good box. That is a box. It's a big old box.
Someone could expect to buy a pair of shoes out of that box, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna do Maverick's shoes next. That would be awesome.
I mean, we can on our website. I just haven't figured out how to do the. It's because I have to talk to Shay to figure out how to cut the image the way I want it, so it lays right. Because when I tried it myself, it was not anything anyone would want to wear. So
I want to order those though and get like the doofy shoes.
I know.
Yeah, I get
they're like
doofy shoes.
They're like
awesome.
Chucks.
Yep.
They're like knockoff Chucks, high tops.
What was I going to say?
I don't know.
That's one thing. One thing I find it's just overwhelming for me is the amount of like text in things. It's one of the reasons I like when people in comic books cut their bubbles down and keep their text tight, so I get more art. I also hate reading because dyslexia is a problem. But that's one thing that I don't like about Kickstarter that I would really love to see them fix is at least put a graphic in the tier description. Because when it starts...
Yeah.
What? Like when it starts saying like you wrote cover C, Guns N' Roses, whatever. If I'm scrolling and I can just see Guns N' Roses cover, I would know. And that's what I was saying. You scrolled right by it. It would be, in my opinion, a much better strategic move to be able to see the perk. That's it. Just that.
Yeah, I think they don't want the I don't know why they don't do it, to be honest, because everybody else does it. Zoops, all the new ones that are coming out, Crowdfunder, all of them do it except for them. It's such a big deal. Maverick Magic Flamethrower, the kids love that. What they do. Hey, it worked for Elon Musk.
It's not a flamethrower. He had to market it as not a flamethrower because you're not allowed to sell flamethrowers. Those, you have to go through an FFL to get a flamethrower.
But I think that those things are tough. I expect that Kickstarter is going to do a whole bunch of crazy changes very, very soon. That backer kit is a big threat to them. It's even a big threat to Indiegogo. They don't want to admit it, but some of the bigger people on Indiegogo use backer kit. Backer kit using their own crowdfunding platform. And if you haven't tested it out, it's live right now. It looks pretty good. It looks like it do some stuff. And the one thing that Indiegogo and Kickstarter had over everybody else is a fan base. Well, they have all our emails. We've given them to them for years. I've given all your emails to BackerKit. I'm so sorry. So they have access to it if they want to use it. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, because we are seeing a shift in crowdfunding and in crowdfunding platforms. I think that you're absolutely right. Kickstarter is going to make a lot of changes and a lot of updates. I know back when they were talking about doing this thing with the blockchain and migrating onto the Clio client, they were talking about letting people develop their own tools for Kickstarter,
Right.
you know, their open source tools. So in my mind, that meant that Kickstarter was open to developing new features for the website, because that was one of the things. It's like it felt a little bit stagnant since, what, 2018? There weren't really a lot of improvements to the quality of life on either Indiegogo or Kickstarter. I would love to see websites continue to advance, get better, get more sophisticated, and to adapt to like new emerging systems and trends. Like, would have been, I'm not an advocate for NFTs, but like it would have been cool to see them think about that and have potentially provided a way to integrate that, rather than just like, no, we don't do it, we don't want it. I think it's the mentality, like the forward looking mentality. That's what VCs want, right? They want to invest in .com. Well, they don't want to invest in .com stuff anymore. That's dead. It's over. They want to invest in blockchain, but they wanted to invest in things where it was all proof of concept. And
Right.
Indiegogo and Kickstarter, they weren't doing a lot of new innovative stuff, so there wasn't a whole lot of venture capital available to them to continue doing daily operations, changing stuff, improving stuff, listening to customer feedback. I did get a thing in the mail, or not in the mail, an email from Kickstarter asking me, as a backer on one of the projects, would we take a survey? Like, what could we improve as Kickstarter? What would we do? I haven't received one of those from Indiegogo yet, so I think you're right, Travis. I think
That's just because your email doesn't get Indiegogo stuff, goes to mine.
Oh, so has Indiegogo asked you what Indiegogo could do better?
Yes.
So you're right. Then I guess they're probably both looking to maybe, develop the platform a little bit more and take it in a direction where they can be competitive. I don't know. Do you think Zoop is a good competitor? Do you think that Zoop is really?
Oh, did we lose Travis? He's frozen.
I hear some feedback.
I hear some roboting.
So I don't Zoom. You there?
Whoa.
Yes, we're there.
I don't know what happened there.
Me neither.
Zoop is very cunning. They're gonna take you by the hand and show you what crowdfunding is and help you and adjust as you go and make those changes with you. I think there's going to be a certain amount of that's kind of like the people who go self-publish versus going to a publisher, right? I need someone to hold my hand through this process. So I think Zoop is going to corner that market very, very fast. But I mean, they're not a threat. They're not taking enough of campaigns from it. It's just GoFundMo is greater than Zoop.
So that's the thing that I've seen with Zoop. I think that they're still struggling to find an actual like footing. And you're right. The angle that they're taking is, hey, you want to do crowdfunding, but you don't know how. Hey, you want to get your book out there and self-publish without going to a publisher, but you don't know how to cultivate a following. Come with us. Come with Zoop. And I know that the process is highly curated, and for me, there's a little bit of concern with not being able to control my own page. If I want to send an update, if I want to change my campaign page, if I want to add a graphic, if I want to reveal a cover, if I want to create a secret tier, if I want to control and drive my car, I don't think I get to do that with Zoop. And the trade-off there is there are a lot of people who don't know how to do any of that shit, want to crowdfund, but like you said, they need someone to hold their hand. I don't know. Is Zoop training wheels then?
It kind of is. It's kind of like we're gonna guide you through. It's kind of weird. Everyone has their own thing. Like the reasons why I don't like Indiegogo is I feel like it's a big. They're always hiding something from me, right? We have 17 secret tiers, so that's why we've raised this money. You don't know how long the campaign ran. If it was 30, 20, 60, 180 days. There's no graphic of what it is, because you can do that 3 times, right? Can't you extend the campaign 3 times?
Once.
It's more than,
and I think it's 60, a max of 60 days.
But you can go in demand, and that might be what you mean, because you can go in demand. You could be there for years if you want before you decide to finally close out the campaign.
As long as you're still getting buyers. So once you're in demand, and you've fulfilled, if you have gone 6 months without any backers, Indiegogo will shut it down.
Because there's no reason to keep it up. It's not making them any money. It's not making you any money. It's dead in the water. One thing that is nice, though, is on the page, it says X amount earned from X backers on this date. And that's when the campaign ended. And then it's got another number, which is like currently how much money it's raised and how many backers. So you can kind of like back date to when it ran. But that's stuff that you, the user, have to do. On Kickstarter, it's like, hey, this thing is active, and now it's over. And it's still cataloged. You can still look it up, but then you have to, like, open it and scroll through it and do all of that other stuff if you want to be
What it does for me, though, as a publisher, I'm thinking about taking other projects this next couple of years, is actually helping other people. That's information that I need to know, right? Wow, that number looks really high. Well, yeah, it looks really high, but that was over 5 years. Oh, well, that's not really that high. You know what I'm saying? Like those are things that really sell. The ideal platform. Here's the ideal platform. I think the ideal platform runs a little bit similar to Kickstarter, but has a very good in-demand store. Meaning it's a whole separate kind of connected website where you can literally buy the digital and it's there, kind of, and it saves on your app and you can read it right there. It all stays on there. The physical will be physically ordered and you can get that. And they have campaigns. I think you and I were talking about it the other day, where when you're in the fulfillment process, you can relaunch for a week and say, hey, we're fulfilling right now.
We're shipping.
Get your book. We're shipping it out. And it has its own little thing. Because you know what? I would buy a lot more comic books if I knew I was going to get it that week, right? Because everyone wants their stuff sooner. So if I could look at a section of comic books and go, hey, I want these books next week, that's ideal to me. That's so
right.
great.
It even give you the opportunity to back it, or to wait to back it when you know it's ready, rather than pledging and kind of saving room on your card for that. Because I know one of the other things with Indiegogo is they take the money right away, but that's kind of cutting against people right now. I've been hearing from a lot of people, oh, well, I'll just get it when it goes in demand, or oh, I'll just get it when they're fulfilling, or I'll just get it later on down the line, because doing it right now means they take that money out of my bank account, and for fuck's sake, gas is over $5.
So Hicks Villain says, Zoop double charged my credit card for that Axe book 2 weeks after it ended. My bank denied the charge. Haven't heard back from them yet. That stinks.
Good day, comics, mate.
Hey, Dean.
We were like coming up. It's been an hour and 21 minutes. So
yeah, we always go over when Travis is on.
Right, but we should move towards the end of the show now that Dean's here.
It is. But sometimes he shows up at the beginning and
yeah, but that's when he's here for the beginning. Like he needs to start the tradition of Dean comes in and we just end the show.
Gotcha.
So yeah, do you have any words of advice for people who are getting into crowdfunding now in this really weird time? I think the earlier advice of you got to do it differently. Social media isn't going to carry you. Simple networking isn't going to carry you. You've got to do other or find other ways to promote the book. That was great. What other words of wisdom you got?
You've got to have some sort of hook. The ones with the hooks are always great, whether it be a challenge or whether you a unique cover thing that makes your book somewhat special that you can talk about, because that's what stuff. And then keep the campaign active. People, all they worry about is getting backers, but I don't just worry about getting backers. Getting backers is one strategy. I also am trying to get everyone who backed digital to get physical. So I try to give extra incentives during the campaign to try to up those pledges, because that helps you get the money, that helps get your stuff, and it helps the algorithms of both Indiegogo and Kickstarter, any crowdfunder, to get you back on the top. The more comments, the more stuff, you gotta do that. You gotta bring the stuff, be the stuff. The other thing is Kickstarter and Indiegogo and all those things. There's a mistrust because a lot of people have abused these platforms. You need to be upfront. If you're a new creator, you need to be upfront about everything. If your book is not full, do not lie and say, "Oh, we're going to finish it next week" or whatever, and it's not started. Like that's going to affect you from then on. And people do it all the time because they go, "Oh, I want to be better," or you feel pressured, or someone says, like me, I'm like, my book is always finished. It's better to just be honest of where you're at, and that honesty is gonna get you further in the campaign and in the Kickstarter world, because people want authenticity.
So transparency, authenticity, and
you got to get a gimmick.
Get a gimmick and
gimmick.
hustle. You gotta hustle the book. You gotta like promote yourself and keep the campaign active. All right, that's all good, good information. So everybody, I encourage you to go check out Voodoo Nations 1 through 3. If you haven't gotten 1 and 2, now is a great time because he's discounted the price of 1 and 2. You can get all 3 for what? I think it's $24. I think that was what I wrote down. 25 bucks. 25, like the catch-up tier, right?
Yeah, 25.
For 25, yeah. Which is great because the book itself is 12, so it's kind of like getting the first 2 for half price, which is fantastic. If you haven't gotten it, I would suggest grab that catch-up tier.
I love this cover. This is my favorite cover.
Yeah, that guy won a
contest. Foreshortening's fun.
Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah. I know, I voted for it in the contest.
If you like the content today, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to be notified when we go live, please click the bell for click the bell for notifications.
Bill you, but...
Well, we probably should start billing.
No,
like,
we just,
no.
So
I'm doing my outro here, and you're scrolling.
Well, you said Bill, not Bell, so
that's okay.
On you.
Ichthus!
What is up, Total
Hey,
Excellence?
Ichthus! Haven't seen you in a while, but thank you so much for tuning in.
All right, now we're here for another hour.
Start all over again.
Dr. Doom is...
Dude, that was a fun conversation, though, man. I really do want to see something.
I have to, because I got interrupted before. I'm surprised you didn't say in your list of what you're reading right now, do a power bomb.
Dude, that's such a good book.
It's wrestling, Daniel Warren Johnson. That seems so right up your alley. I don't even know how you're not reading it.
I am reading it. We just got through 2 books. I would have kept going. I would have at least given it 1.
All right. That's fair.
That's the other thing that I like is that you read. You actually like go out and you read books that aren't mainstream things or like mainstream industry big 2 things that are disappointing.
This week,
nice.
Kickstarter and comics. It's ridiculous.
And that's the point. Like there is a lot of stuff out there, and that stuff is also included in Comic-Con reports.
Ichthus knows what's up. Do a power bomb is fantastic.
Yes, it is, man. Like
my Ivan Tao variant is coming finally. That is like I think the most gorgeous cover. I know you like the James Herron, but
it's James Herron, man. Come on.
I could no, but the Ivan Tao is fucking okay. No. We're not ending this till I show everyone the Ivan Tao variant, and you tell me that this is not a fucking gorgeous cover.
All right. You do that. I will look up the James Herron variant of.
So for those who don't know what Do a Powerbomb is, I'll explain that later. Do a Powerbomb is a great book about a young girl whose mother dies in a fatal accident in the ring.
A wrestling accident.
A wrestling ring. And she is trying to get back, and no one's letting her get in the ring because of respect for her mom, except for this very cool demon guy who invites her to fight in a special tournament.
And and you kind of see the little hook, the little twist coming, but at the end of the first issue, when you read, because it's not just a belt that's on the line, there's another prize.
Oh yeah,
and you read it, and you're like, yep, that's it, that's the series right there, I'm in. And Daniel did such a good job just queuing it up for those final 2 pages where you read it and you're like, this is exactly what I wanted this series to be about.
Okay,
all right.
So this is the Ivan Tao.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's very good. It's very New Japan Wrestling Federation.
I love Ivan Tao.
It is good.
Ivan
New
Tao
Japan.
cover.
This is the better one.
So I'll let her stank face.
This is the better one. This is the James Herron.
It is good. I'm not saying it's bad. It is a good cover. I just prefer that one.
All right. I mean, to each their own.
I'm going to go with Neff. I like the James Herron. I like my stuff dirty and gritty.
And it's got that really nice that screen tone on it.
I'm not saying it's a bad cover.
But yeah, Travis is right. There's a lot more like punk, and I think that's Travis's aesthetic.
Yeah, that's my vibe. Like,
yeah,
anime girl is never gonna vibe me. Like,
well, at least that's a good thing. And Mo is glad to hear that anime girl will never vibe Travis, because so many people around here are just in love with that anime and manga and that weeb stuff.
Whatever, I'm a girl.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. That is the point. All right.
What about says? I like the badass one, but I lust the other one.
Oof. Oh, you're lucky fair. Mo's not here either. What's up, Armin? Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I'll let her stank face me. that's fair. Yeah, wrestling is. It's cool that people are finally really giving the nod to it, because Daniel Warren Johnson's a huge fan. He's always talking about it, and it's nice to see that people are no longer like crapping on wrestling fans, that they're allowed to just like their male soap opera, and that it's not just a male soap opera. It's a soap opera for all ages and sexual preferences and orientations and stuff.
If I ever do the next sequel of Brokedown, it's a wrestling story.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did I ever told you that?
No, you didn't. That's news to me now.
You want to hear the concept? It's good.
Sure.
So the concept of the book is, imagine, let's say Hulk Hogan, a Hulk Hogan type character. This guy is behind. He's running a small local independent thing, and Hulk Hogan owes him a favor. He's going to kill Hulk Hogan, so he has the only existing tape of the death of Hulk Hogan, so he can keep his business afloat.
Travis, I don't know where you come up with these, man, but that's an excellent setup. I love it. I love it.
So what about said?
I said it because Mo is not here. Please don't show up. I won't. Your secret is safe with me. I don't know if Mo watches replays, so we'll get away with it. Ichthus said, a pro wrestling comic that has sequential art that looks like it's moving at a fast pace, not still photos, is in a page from a photographer. Absolutely.
DWJ is just like
it's so gestural. Like, he really captures motion very well, and he does it in a way that isn't like too chaotic and like upturned. A lot of comics that try and capture motion can be very chaotic and hard to look at. Armin said he just got Gen Sup 2 from the printers.
And there's a surprise on the back cover, so we have to wait and see what that is. He's sending it out. What about says, we need a wrestling book about wrestlers on the road battling ring rats.
That would be interesting.
Honestly, I'd watch the fuck out of a Real Housewives of WWE.
That would be great.
Didn't they have like a reality show with the female wrestlers at one point, or was that? Did I make that up? Maybe I made that up.
No, I
vaguely remember something about that. Like China was on it.
Yeah, I feel like that was a thing, and
this would be back in like the late '90s.
If you ever want to watch something cool, there's a wife swap where Ric Flair and Roddy Piper switch wives. That's fantastic. It's so good. It's so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Right. What about says the Divas show?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Ring Rats is the wrestlers' names for groupies, for those who don't know. Yeah.
The one China was on was called The Surreal Life.
Okay, so maybe...
So there were this concept's been done.
Specifically.
It's been done. It was just done 20 years plus.
It's the Divas show.
20 years ago, so, Anyway.
There are multiple versions of that, Dean. You can go and probably find them on YouTube, so...
Anyway, that's going to be it for us tonight. We've been going for another 10 minutes since when I wanted to, end the show. Dean, you're welcome.
But you won the which cover is better war.
I didn't need to. So. I mean, I'm glad that Travis told me I was right.
What about also agreed with you?
And what about agreed with me? I knew I was right. I didn't need to win that contest or anything. Mm-hmm. So once again, like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications,
and tune into the frequency.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.